Sylveon, a fan-favorite Pokemon that's had a number of good cards over the years. From Sylveon EX, which one-shotted Rayquaza GX for a double colorless energy with a choice band attached, to Sylveon GX, which was good by itself at tutoring out cards it needed and then consistently two-shotting the meta. And also good paired with Zoroark GX, which was one of the best cards in the game at the time. To the amazing Gardevoir and Sylveon tag team deck, which saw play as a tank deck that also consistently two-shotted the meta. But now, there's a new viable Sylveon in town. Sylveon VMAX. Hello, I'm your friendly Pokemon-playing Immortal Night King OnGuard, finally jumping back into deck profiling, and today we are going to be profiling Sylveon VMAX. Sylveon VMAX is an amazing card that literally won two big online events last week. Both the Zaclasage Late Night event with 336 players, and the Chill TCG event with a whopping 521 players. It has a first attack that accelerates an energy from hand to a Pokemon and heals 120 from that Pokemon, and a second attack that does 70 plus 30 more for each different type of Pokemon on your bench. This makes way for a lot of versatility, because the optimal way to play the deck is with a lot of different types of Pokemon, so you can basically play the deck in any way you want. Alright, so the first list we're going to go over here is the one that won the Zaclasage Late Night event with 336 players, which is this one here, by Theo Fino, or however you pronounce that name. I'm not 100% sure. But right here, we have a Sylveon deck with a 2-2 Urshifu line, a 2-2 Blaziken line, and 2 Zeraora as all alternate attackers. The Zeraora was definitely an interesting choice compared to how all previous Sylveons had been built, which, to be fair, had only been like 2 weeks. But the Octillery heal here has basically been a mainstay of the deck so far, because obviously it's something that you'd only want one of on the bench. It's a Water-type Pokemon, which is not any other type in the deck, and it always guarantees you any Rapid Strike card that you'd want on that turn, whether it be your VMAX, or another V to put down on the bench, or your Rapid Strike energy. Regardless of what you want, you can guaranteed get it with Octillery here. You can also grab your one of Karina's Focus in case you're kind of dead drawing and need a bit of burst draw out of the situation. We have the one Crobat for a little bit of burst draw to draw until you have 6 cards in hand. We have the Eldegoss for getting back a supporter, like a Boss in the late game or a Marnie in the late game if you want to make sure that your opponent doesn't have game in hand. And then what was interesting is that they were playing 2 Escape Ropes and no other switches or air balloons, but they were also playing the 3 Tower of Waters, which honestly I think is very good here, because they could either Escape Rope, retreat with Tower of Waters back into Urshifu VMAX to use Gale Thrust, or, I mean, Gmax Rapid Flow if you were in the active and just had the energy for it, you could use it anyway, so I guess that's not super relevant. But it opened up a lot of plays and took less deck space, which I thought was a good idea. The 2 telescopic sights were definitely interesting, because I don't think anyone had thought to run any other tools other than, like, Air Balloon and Ribbon Badge in this deck, which was, like, the norm for what people were running before this deck popped up. But it allows you to boost your Zeraora to 190 snipe on the bench. Dealing 100 to the active and 190 to the bench is huge in a lot of matchups, especially if you went from Max Blaze with 130 and then hit 190 on the bench after a Escape Rope or a Boss. That's a really, really nice setup you have there. And also you can go, for another route, you can go Max Harmony for 220 into a Gmax Rapid Flow Snipe on finishing off the VMAX knockout and 120 onto another VMAX, and then clean up the game with a second Max Harmony. There's a lot of different routes you can go in this, and I think the one of Echoing Horn is also very good for putting a Zacian back down on the bench, or something else on the bench, in the event that you're fighting against something like Zacian Zamazenta. You could put it down, gust it up, and Max Blaze it for knock, which is a good way to get around the Zamazentas that you'll generally run into with the deck. There's also 4 Rapid Strike energy, 4 Spiral energy, which 4 Spirals was an interesting choice in the deck, but it also opens up the play to be able to Precious Touch, and if you Precious Touch to Zeraora, you can set up for just attach Crossfist on the next turn, because this is a Rapid Strike Pokemon, and counts as using an attack for turn, because it is an attack for turn. And then there's the 2 Capture Energies, which help to round out a little bit of the consistency of the list, because Capture Energy and Quick Ball both can help you get your stuff turn 1, and then Evo Incense can basically guarantee you get into a Sylveon or an Octillery by turn 2, which gets you rolling in that particular aspect of the deck. I think this is a very, very good archetype, and I think the 3 Tower of Waters are really good for shutting down paths when you need to Crobat or Eldegoss. Otherwise, getting out of the active is also very good. It also bumps Galarian Mines against like Leafeon. So I think that this is a very good list, and it goes to show that it won a 336-person tournament. Alright, the next list was the one that won a 541-person event, which is the Chill TCG series, on Wednesday, and that would be Reiji Nishiguchi's Sylveon list, which played Galarian Moltres as the engine. No Zeraora, but they were playing Galarian Moltres, which does get that 190, which also shores up for the Max Blaze into that play, or you can still do the Max Harmony into G-Max Rapid Flow into Max Harmony, which is also a very good play. I think this list is probably a little more versatile, but a little less consistent than the first list. I think that it has a lot of different options here. Like, you can energy switch off and set up a Max Harmony in one turn. Generally, you'll be able to attach Max Harmony, but it also gives you the opportunity to just G-Max Rapid Flow out of nowhere. Like, you could G-Max Rapid Flow and then next turn energy switch, attach G-Max Rapid Flow. It's also playing to Raihan, which let you get those burst turns a lot easier as well, and grab a combo piece that you might need to shore out the game, basically. They're also playing a 1 of Tool Scrapper to help deal with, like, Cape of Toughness and whatnot. They're playing the 3 Boss, the 1 Karina's Focus, and the 3-4 Research, but they're also playing the 2 Raihan, as said before, and the 1 Air Balloon and the 2 Ribbon Badge. The 1 Air Balloon and 2 Ribbon Badge has been in a lot of different Sylveon archetypes, but this is the first one that had a Air Balloon and 2 Ribbon Badge that placed first at a tournament, which is really big considering this is a 541-person tournament. And then, shoring out the list, there was also Gold Monkey for a little bit more consistency because they're not playing Crobat. They can Primate Wisdom to preserve resources and be able to try to dig that extra 1 card deeper for combo pieces. I don't like that there's no burst draw, but like you can't really help it when you're playing a different dark type and don't want to bench 2 dark types, or else you're hurting your damage output with Sylveon. There's also the Eldegoss for getting back things like Boss, Karina's Focus, Marnie, and Raihan in this case, which is very nice being able to get back a Raihan in a pinch. And then shoring out the list is the 4 Rapid Strike Energy and the 7 Dark Energy. So you're hitting energy pretty consistently here. The other list I'm going to go over here is a list that, first of all, I saw a little bit of Henry Brand playing Sylveon with Leafeon on the ladder, and I thought that was really interesting. He had lists closed, so I didn't see exactly what he was playing, but I sorta built from there because I thought the concept was really cool. So this, I came 75th out of 336 players on Monday, 4 of my 5 losses being Zacian Zamazenta. So you'd be surprised that I lost to so many Zacian Zamazenta with Blaziken V, Blaziken VMAX, but it was just every single time that I had fought them, I had basically prized either 2 Blaziken or 1 Blaziken and it got knocked out, or just got a very, very close game not being able to finish it out. Because it's hard to get around 2 Zamazentas without having something that can hit into them consistently. But the objective of this deck is you either Greening Cells or Dream Gift, and I apologize for not going over Dream Gift earlier. Dream Gift is a really good consistency boost at the start of the game, where you can, once during your turn, search your deck for an item card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Generally, if your opponent sees that you're putting an item card into your hand, they'll generally Marnie you. You can also try and bait them by putting in an item card that you don't actually need, and then that's one card less in your deck if they Marnie you, which I've done on certain occasions only if I didn't already have, or if I already had cards I needed in hand, I'd pick something that I didn't necessarily need just in case they Marnied me. Leafeon has a similar ability, but it's search your deck for a grass energy card and attach to any Pokemon, then your turn ends. So basically you have this option to where you either want to Leafeon or Sylveon, depending on the matchup, and Leafeon puts you a turn up energy attachment-wise, which is very nice, especially going first, because you could get, like, a Rapid Strike energy down on, say, an Urshifu, and then you could Greening Cells to, say, Sylveon or Blaziken, or a second Urshifu if you want to go that route. I thought this concept was really interesting, but my list was definitely not the best, and definitely more clunky than it should have been. It's playing the 2-2 Urshi, the 2-2 Blaziken, the 3-2 Sylveon, and 2 Leafeons, but the one thing here that's, like, really... that was completely my idea, and I thought was a really interesting take here, because it's also a Rapid Strike Pokemon here, is Rayquaza V evolving into Rayquaza VMAX just for the Azure Pulse ability, because it's once during your turn you may discard your hand and draw 3 cards, which I think is really good in the late game, or even in the early game if you just need the extra draw. Just having an ability that allows you to just discard your hand, draw 3, I think is very good. Plus, it can retreat for free using Tower of Waters. I definitely had some issues with this list, mainly being that I should have had third tower here, because I was struggling to bump Path to the Peak or something similar to that, and I probably should not have had 3 switches here. So after the tournament, I updated the list and took a little bit of inspiration from the winning list. So this is where I'm at now with my Leafeon build, which, as you see, is a little bit more consistent, and instead of air balloons, I actually added in Tool Scrappers. I mean, not Tool Scrapper, Tool Jammer. Tool Jammer here is, as long as the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, Pokemon tools attached to your opponent's active Pokemon have no effect except for Tool Jammer. This is nice for getting around capes, being able to potentially stick something in the active and they can't air balloon out of it. It's just a nice option to have for eliminating their tools. It also helps against Sylveon VMAX mirrors, where you can just turn off their ribbon badge and then actually take 3 prizes from it. And I didn't like the idea of just running 1 Tool Scrapper, because that's a one-off and then it's done and you can't remove any tools past that point. So I liked that. I also went down the 1 Spiral Energy and 1 Grass Energy for 2 Capture Energies, again taking a little bit of inspiration from that first list. So I hope you all enjoyed. I'm really enjoying this format a lot and experimenting with a bunch of different decks. So I hope you enjoyed this. I plan on making more in the future, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Have a good night.